Welcome back to the Skilled Mascot Show. I know it's been a while since I last recorded and uploaded. I've been very busy, so please leave me alone. I've had a lot to do. I'm much more important than you. I'm a busy man. I want to talk about David. He's been arrested. He's a pedophile. You know it. I know it. Donald Trump would love him. Invite him to the administration if he beats the case. It's not looking like he will, though. It's looking very unlikely that he'll beat this case. Now, there's a lot of surrounding info about it, and I'm going to talk to you about it. But it's looking very unlikely like he's going to beat this case. Now, he's the OJ of our time, except there is way better technology, way better forensic evidence, and this nigga's a lot stupider. I'm not going to lie. He's just a lot dumber. So we're just going to jump right in, and we got some other topics we're going to talk about today. We're going to talk a little bit about the war. We're going to talk a little bit about the SCOTUS decision. We're going to talk about the Met Gala. But first, I want to talk about David. David's been arrested. So we're going to take you back in time, way, way back in time, to when David first met. Now, we got to go back before David actually met Celeste in the first place to get some background, some groundwork for this. David originally was raised in New York, and he was a social outcast in New York. He was very, very bullied. People didn't like him very much. Teachers would pick on him. It's not entirely sure why. He doesn't really get into it in his interviews. He mainly just says that he was like an outcast, was a loner, and it got so bad that his parents ended up moving him down to Houston. I don't know if his parents moved for work. I'm not really sure. He didn't say. But he ended up moving down to Houston, and he moved to a public school there, and he didn't really fit in there either. He had a couple of friends, but he mentioned that during his time there, he was a bit of a loner, bit of a weirdo, bit of an outcast. He would just sit on the playground and, in his own words, imagine stories about his classmates and write down these fantastical tales about him. So he's a bit of an odd kid growing up, and I was a bit of an odd kid too. So I can't hold too much judgment towards him. I mean, I'm sitting in my room in May wearing a Ushanka. I'm still an odd guy, still an odd duck. Haven't fully sorted all these things out about myself. But David was an odd guy as well. And this oddness kind of hamstrung his ability to have relationships with normal people his age. And we're going to fast forward a little bit here, but David found himself somehow on Fortnite talking to Celeste. It's possible, you queue into a game of Fortnite, you get matched up with a squeaker kid or some random girl or whatever. It happens, right? Now, at the time, Celeste was 11 and David was 16, and they began a talking relationship on Discord. They were talking every day back and forth. Now, mind you, David is a homeschool kid. He has no friends. So in his mind, he may not be seeing this as anything sinister. He may just be thinking, oh, I'm just super this is like my closest friendship, whatever, this, that, and the third, yada, yada, yada. I don't really know what dude was thinking. I can't tell you, I'm not in his head. But that's what it would seem like. It started as something innocuous and innocent, maybe. Now, I don't really know how you have an innocent relationship with someone 5 years younger, who is also prepubescent, but we're going to give the child the benefit of doubt. Now, where we can't give him the benefit of doubt anymore is that this relationship eventually spiraled when he was 18 and she was 13. Important context. She was still a minor. It spiraled into a sexual relationship. And I can't really call it a sexual relationship. He was really just sexually abusing her. So let's just say what it was. He was sexually abusing a child. And he was an adult at this time. So anyone who is saying, I've seen a lot of people online talking about, oh, David's innocent, proven innocent until proven guilty. First of all, you stupid fuck. I hate that shit so much, right? Oh, innocent until proven guilty, innocent until proven guilty. Yes, in the court of law, not in the court of public opinion. He was dating and raping a minor. And I'm supposed to assume he didn't kill her too? But even if he is innocent of the murder, at best, he's a pedophile, which makes him adequate to be a U.S. Politician, lawmaker, Trump cabinet appointee. But in the normal world outside of Washington and Capitol Hill and billionaire circles, you can't really get away with doing that shit, and people look at you kind of strange. When you're not a billionaire, you're not a politician, actually talking to kids and having sex with them is socially unacceptable. If I have any politicians listening, I know you just melted like a witch exposed to water or sun or a vampire in sunlight. That's like your kryptonite, but it actually is not normal, socially acceptable, or illegal to maintain a sexual relationship with someone who's a minor when you are an adult. And that's what David was engaged in. Now, no one in David's circle knew about Celeste and his relationship at the time, but his mom knew that he was making a little bit of a foray into music. And he showed her his breakout hit before he ever released it called Romantic Homicide. He'd go on to release Romantic Homicide on September 10th, which happens to be Celeste's birthday. She turned 13. It was her 13th birthday. And he released a song to her. Now, Celeste is feeling good. She's a little kid. This guy that she's attracted to, who's older than her, who makes money. To her, seems like a god. He's on a pedestal. Is making a song about her on her birthday. If I was a 13-year-old guy, and Sabrina Carpenter, or whoever, Beyonce, Rihanna, whoever, made a song about, I'm not saying David's on that level. He's not. Let's be honest. Even without the pedophilia and the murder, he's not that level of global phenom, people. Let's keep it a buck. But if one of them had made a song for me on my birthday, my dick would be wet. I'm just gonna say it. Let's be honest here, people. Let's be honest. Even my dog, who's a woman, her dick would be wet. Her dick would be wet, and she's a cat. Everyone knows it. See, the second I mention these attractive women making songs about you on your birthday, even my animals come to attention. They understand. So I understand how Celeste's head got geeked up by this predator man. Obviously, none of the blame is going to this child. All of the blame is going on to David. So, he showed, before he released Romantic Homicide, he showed the song to his mother. And his mom even said himself, "Why are you talking about killing people? This is so violent." Now, Mom, the great Ichiro Oda would call that foreshadowing, but we're going to get to that later. His mom didn't like how violent the song was. David did not listen to that, and he was like, I think I have a hit on my hands. I can make something great of this. So David goes ahead and releases the song, and it becomes very, very popular. Additionally, in December 2025, this is years down the line, he releases a song called Celeste, where the line was Celeste, the girl with the tattoo on my chest, the stupid ass song, right? But he drops a line saying how Celeste has a tattoo of his name on his chest, which will be important later in this case. Everyone already knows I'm late to the news. But he name drops something about them having matching tattoos. Now, in February 2024, Celeste went missing, and the police suspected she was with David because they had been texting back and forth. His name was in her phone records, so they just went to visit his house and see what was up. Now, David says he didn't know her, he didn't know she was a minor, only met her once in November 2023, and had no idea where she was. Police leave, they have no warrant to search the home. Now, magically and mysteriously, by the grace of God that I do not believe in, Celeste shows up at her house 2 days later. It's very coincidental. Now, the police failed to question Celeste on where she was. They don't ask the parents where she said she was, but her parents ended up taking her phone. Now, that should be the end of the relationship. And if anyone should be homeschooled in this scenario, it should be Celeste. The parents need to sit Celeste down one day, before they take her phone, before they tell her they know about David, they just sit her down and they say, Celeste, there's a man who wants to rape and kill you. They don't say who he is, they don't say when he's coming, they don't say what he looks like, but they say, we're gonna put you in homeschooling, and we're gonna take your phone. And we know you're gonna be angry at us, and we know you're gonna hate us, and you're gonna kick and scream and bitch and moan. You're 12 after all, it makes sense. Or she was 13 at the time, big difference. But we're gonna homeschool you, Celeste. Because there is a man who's going to rape and kill you if we do not. And that is what they should have told their 13-year-old daughter when they unenrolled her from her school and made her stop talking to any of her friends ever again. But they did not do that. Instead, they took her phone, and David, who lived 75 miles away in LA, drove all the way to, what is this fucking place called in Backwater, California? Lake Elsinore, California, to Celeste's school. And he gave one of her classmates $1,000 to buy her a phone. Criminal mastermind that he is. He gives one of her classmates $1,000 to buy her a cell phone. Now he's got his dream girl back. He's got his child back in his possession. And during this period, she would go to Vegas with David and London and even to his home in Texas. Now, I have two questions here. For one, where were the parents when she was just going missing in Texas? Where were they? What were they doing? But for two, what was David's mom thinking when he brought the 13-year-old home to meet her? What was the thought process there? My son, who is almost 19 years old, he's a full-grown adult, should be in college right now, has brought him a 13-year-old to meet the family. I'm his mother. What are my thoughts? What were her thoughts, do you think? Do you think, he's doing the music and he's making so much money. Do you think I might not question? I don't know. I would love to be in that woman's head. Now I'm gonna spoil part of my segment at the end of this, my David quick hits facts section. But his mom still maintains his innocence. There's so much evidence against his innocence. If I was his mom, I'd just shut the fuck up. But she's saying he's innocent. Now in April 2024, Celeste. This is just 2 months later. Celeste is reported missing again. She was last seen by her family during this time, but it's a little bit strange because neighbors say they saw her back and forth in the neighborhood. And when she was last taken, she was picked up by an Uber from her house in Lake Elsinore. So it's really hard to say where she was moving in between this time of April 2024 and April 2025. In September, she turned 14. So Dave would have to be 19 at this point, and in November, they break up. Celeste cites the reason for breaking up that all they do is have sex and hang out. This is coming from the minor's mouth. If you wanted to dispute that David wasn't a pedophile, was not having a predatory relationship with this child, well, she says it herself. And in April 22nd, now the week of April 22nd, David had a very, very busy week. Celeste threatens to end his career and destroy his life. Now, what could she possibly be using to threaten him to destroy his career and his life? Maybe the fact that he's a pedophile. I don't know. We don't know because she's not alive to tell us. But on April 23rd, the date she's suspected to be killed, David sent an Uber to her home to pick her up. He stabbed her several times, watched her die, and then he posted his pre-sale tickets. And then he went and dumped her body. He had to get his ticket sale out, realized, whew, that bullet dodged. That dumb bitch is dead. I gotta put my pre-sale tickets up while I'm standing over her bleeding out body. He posts his pre-sale tickets for his world tour, and then he kept on texting her phone to make it seem like they never met up. Now this dumbass doesn't realize that the cops can just track where her cell phone was, which they definitely will do, and will come out in the prosecutor's evidence. But they're gonna track where his cell phone was, and the fact that he kept on texting her too, the location where the messages are going to be pinging off the cell phone towers are going to be right near his house. So he's actually incredibly stupid. He's very fucking dumb. But on April 24th, he kept on texting Celeste, but on April 26th, he ceased all communication altogether. Then he orders a shovel through Postmates and dumps the body in Santa Barbara. This is all alleged. But he drives her to Santa Barbara after buying a shovel. On April 25th, he releases a music video of him dumping a body into... Remember, this guy had a very busy week. He was all over the place. He just killed a girl. Now he has to dispose of the body and be on set for a music video. These are the lives that American movie stars and musicians are living. You kill a girl and then you're on set for a music video where you're disposing of her body. That is the life of an American pop star. And if you can't stomach the idea of murdering a child and going out to brunch later, maybe the life of fame and success isn't meant for you. Maybe you're just not made for it. It just sounds like you aren't cut out to be one of the bigs, one of the greats. Because in this town, you're going to have to kill some girls and you're going to have to do some things that the president would be proud of. So he releases the music video, taking pride. Because remember, David is like a theater kid or whatever. He's taking pride. He's trying to leave breadcrumbs. This is his modern day OJ if I did it. And then he returns to Santa Barbara on May 31st. He also went back there on May 8th, checking his works. Now, he also, on May 1st, he ordered a chainsaw under a fake name. He ordered 2 chainsaws. This is before returning to the site of the body twice. And then where the body's original dumping site. And then he orders a burn cage, which is an at-home incinerator. And then, later in July, I believe it was July 25th, he moves his car to the tow lot where it was eventually found. Everybody found a rotting body inside, and you know the rest. So it's quite clear. And mind you, this is all the evidence that we've received yet. The prosecutors haven't even gone through all the evidence yet. This is just the early stages of discovery. So we don't even know how much more there is to this. But, some quick facts about David. For one, again, if anyone wanted to dispute his innocence and say that David did nothing wrong, well, the 40 terabytes of child sexual abuse material on his phone beg to differ with you. And that's only 30% of his electronic records been gone through. 30%, they already have 40 terabytes of child abuse material. How... 40,000 gigabytes. That is 10,000 movies. 12 million photos. 12 million photos. 10,000 movies. How do you even... That's libraries worth. The dude is sitting on the Library of O'Hara of fucking child abuse material. So if you wanted to dispute this guy's innocence, like his brother is doing, his brother maintains that David is innocent. He says, I haven't lived with David in several years, so then how the fuck would you know, you fucking idiot? But, he's innocent, and I'm not trying to use this to springboard my own music career. And I found that to be very cynical, that he included that into the thing. Oh, I'm not doing this to springboard my music career. Yes, you are, bro. Just be honest. Just say your brother murders girls and you're trying to get famous off of it. It's really not that hard. RFK made a whole career off of JFK getting murdered. Erica Kirk's doing the same thing with Charlie. Your brother just happens to be the murderer in this sense and you're trying to get some clout. Be honest, it's what we do in America. We glorify and deify monsters and victims. Like... We make money off of monsters and victims in this country. So just own up to what you're doing. Just say it with your chest. And we can all go home a whole lot wiser, feeling a whole lot better about ourselves. David's mom still says he's innocent. Now, I can't imagine how she could say he was innocent when she's already said herself his music was too violent and she met his 13-year-old girlfriend. Mom, I know we see our children through rose-colored glasses, but genuinely, it's got to get to a point where you're like, holy shit, my son's a fucking maniac. Wait, my son's a maniac who rapes children and kills them? How'd that happen? That's weird. That is weird. And some other weird things about David, just gonna fly through these, is that he threatened to drop an AirTag down Celeste's throat to watch her movements all the time, and he posted a TikTok about this. And Celeste's mother says she disapproved of the relationship, but that after Celeste had already been missing, that David had sat down and dinner with them. I'm presuming it was just talk about, like, oh, I'm so sorry your daughter's missing and all this stuff. That's some demonic shit, by the way. That's some dark shit right there. To sit down with someone's family and be like, oh, what can we do to find your daughter? How can we... She's rotting in your trunk. You chopped her up with a chainsaw and you're talking to her family about what you can do to find her. That's some sick shit. I can't lie. That's some dark shit. But, I want to move on from this because I'm actually going to wrap up this episode. I'm going to wrap it up with a couple things. Gas prices are through the roof. We're at a 4-year high, $4.45 a gallon. America's breaking the ceasefire with Iran. We're targeting Iranian oil tankers and we're blockading the Strait of Hormuz to allow safe passage, something Iran has clearly outlined is not allowed in the ceasefire. If you leave it to America to break every ceasefire in front of them, the only country that can do it better is Israel. And now the Supreme Court just codified gerrymandering into law. So now you can't redistrict based off race, but you can redistrict based off political party. Now in most southern states, most Democratic voters are black and brown. So now you're saying you can redistrict them so they can't have one district of people who are going to vote for a Democrat, but you can redistrict to make 35 different districts so that no person of color can get what they want. So, those are just the things that are happening in this country. We've got celebrities murdering girls, then our president eating children and starting illegal wars. The Supreme Court is codifying away minorities' voter rights. And then we have to watch the Met Gala. We have to watch rich people play in our faces while we're starving in the streets and we're dying and people's lives are being ripped to shreds. And people are being bombed in Iran and we're killing children. You have rich people playing around in their fancy clothes. And, there's not really much to say about that. It's just a time to be alive, people. We're living in hell. So, grab a fucking cooler and some good beer. Have a good night, America.